Hi, everybody. My name is Miles Wallace, and I'm with Peak Performers. We're a nonprofit staffing and recruiting agency that helps professionals with disabilities find work and also advance their careers. I'm here today to tell you about the top jobs that we're recruiting for this week and give you a weekly recruiter tip. Do you have at least 3 years of experience in accounting and/or contract management? If so, we're currently looking for a contract manager for one of our government agency partners, as well as a local nonprofit. Do you have experience with, and pardon the acronym here, TXUNPS or WBSCM and transitioning to ADKAR? This is something that we're looking for a change manager with one of our government agency partners. Do you have a passion for grants and a background in accounting? If so, we are currently looking for a grant accountant. Do you have experience with Drupal? If so, we are currently looking for a web project manager. Do you have some experience working in a customer service and IT background? If so, we'd love to check out your resume for a system support specialist. I will include links for each of these specific jobs in the comments to this video. Additionally, you can find all of our jobs at peakperformers.org. This week, I wanted to explore the idea of being embarrassed by your resume and what you can do to overcome that. Last week, I was talking with a job seeker. We were really connecting and having a great conversation, but then when we got to the point that I asked to see her resume, she got real quiet, and I could tell that I probably was never going to see that resume. And there might be a couple reasons that she was possibly embarrassed by her resume, such as 6 years of experience working at a multi-level marketing company. Besides her experience working for an MLM, she had kind of worked in multiple different industries all over the place, and she had different resume gaps. So it wasn't a super linear path compared with somebody, for example, like my wife, who is a youth librarian. She's one of those people that has basically known what she's wanted to do her entire life. If you look at her resume, she is the first person that a recruiter is going to call, but most of us don't have a resume nearly as linear as that. Having said that, let's talk about 5 tips that you might be able to use to overcome some of the embarrassment and get you through the hiring process. My first tip is network like it is your job. First off, realize that 75% of all jobs are never posted online, and a lot of it comes from who you know and how you're able to network. Really take some time to get to know other professionals in the field, find a champion within the organization, find other people that you can network your way through to find the perfect job for you. I also like to recommend that you follow up after you apply. This is super important, especially if your resume is not the obvious choice, or if you have some additional details that you need to tell the recruiter and to let them know why you would still be a really good fit for that particular role. Not a whole lot of other job seekers follow up on the resume, so this gives you a golden opportunity to stand out. Let's talk about writing for a second. Many of you watching this video might be a little bit uncomfortable with writing or feel like you're not the strongest writer. I like to recommend that you have somebody else read over your resume and give you feedback on it. That can really help. Or if you're still doing it alone, it really helps just to be able to read it aloud so that you can catch a lot of those mistakes that you might normally make. My 4th tip is realize that you don't have to do this alone. So find resources that are in your area, and I'd like to highlight 3 of them. First off, if you are a job seeker and really don't know where to start, or you have some significant employment barriers that are keeping you from being able to work, talk to Workforce Solutions. They are a really good hub for a lot of information, and they can also get you paired up with a job coach or help you overcome some of those employment barriers. One of my favorite local resources is called the Strategies for Job Seeking class. This is put on by Austin Community College. If you feel like you need help in multiple areas, such as interview skills as well as rebuilding your resume, or maybe you're coming back after taking a couple of years out of the workforce, they can be a really good place to start. If you are primarily looking for networking kinds of activities and to meet other peers in your field, I like to recommend that you look into a job club, and the one that I particularly like myself is called Launchpad Job Club. They meet every Fridays via Zoom and in person. My 5th tip is that I want to encourage you to own the experience, even if it was embarrassing. So my first job actually coming out of college was as an email marketer, where I represented and sent out hundreds of thousands of spam emails every single day for-profit colleges. This is something that I'm still embarrassed about to this day and don't actually list on my LinkedIn profile. What did I learn from that role? Well, I learned, to be really super detail oriented. I learned, more importantly, what kind of environments I can thrive in and what kind of organizations I want to work in. The job seeker I mentioned previously might be embarrassed by working for a multi-level marketing company, just as I'm embarrassed to have previously worked for an email marketing company, but realize that that's a reflection on the organization and not a reflection on you, and you don't have to be embarrassed by that. Oftentimes we might take jobs just due to the nature of circumstances, and so don't hold that against yourself. Furthermore, realize that every single job that you take, you are going to gain valuable experience in. Many of you watching this video perhaps are trying to make a transition from, say, food service all the way over into more of an office and professional setting. You may look at your resume and feel like you're not qualified to do that, but look harder. Did you gain customer service skills? And do you have experience with dealing with cash handling? Did you manage other people? These are all very real world kinds of skills that will directly translate. And a lot of times it's just about how you present the information. Most of us are probably not going to have a path nearly as linear as my wife's. Estimated that we will each transition careers 5.7 times. Realize that this is probably not going to be the first hard transition that you're going to make, and it's probably not going to be the last, but you don't have to be embarrassed by it. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Again, this has been Miles from Peak Performers, and we'll see you next week.